Hi, I'm Camille, and today I'm going to show you how to make a beaded butterfly. A friend of mine is getting married this summer and the theme of her wedding is butterflies. So I've been playing around making different butterfly thingies, and this is one of them that I've made in preparation for this wedding. Get ready to hit pause because here are the supplies. So take the wire that you have cut, 24 inches, and fold it in half exactly. Then you're going to string on 2.5 inches of whatever kind of bead that you're using. I'm going to use rice pearls. You can use any kind of fairly small bead for the measurements I'm giving you. I've made some with 4mm round beads, and this works fine with those or with different size pearls. I am giving the measurements in inches rather than in number of beads, so you can adjust for using different kinds of beads. You don't have to use the exact beads that I'm using, just as long as they're kind of small. First, string on 2.5 inches, and rather than check over and over again, I like to just add a bunch until I think it's at least 2.5 inches, and then I can measure and remove any over that I may have added. And then down the other side I'm going to string on another 2.5 inches. And part of the main goal of this is that the sides are equal. It's not so much that you've got exactly 2.5 inches, and when you're dealing with irregular size beads or pearls like I am with the rice pearls, it's not going to be dead on the money at 2.5 inches, but just that you get both sides to be as close to one another as possible. So I've got my two sides that are even, and I'm going to go ahead and just curl down the little tip of both of these wires just in case, so that as I'm working I don't start losing pearls. So we're going to work one side at a time, push them pretty close to that bend you made, and make a loop. Make sure it's pretty tight, and then just twist down only a couple times, 2 or 3 times. You don't want to twist a bunch of times because you don't want a big space created by all that twisting between the two sides of the butterfly. Then do the same thing on the other side, pull it down tight. Now twist these two wires together for just about 1/4 inch. Again, if you give it too much, your butterfly will just look a little loose. And if you don't do this, then if you're using pretty big beads, they won't fit and lay flat. So you do need to have some separation between the different wings, but you don't want to give too much because you want it to look nice and planned. So those are actually going to be the bottom. Now we're going to do the top part. Similar process, just go ahead and string on a bunch of pearls or beads. This time we're going to go for 3¼ inches. The top part of the wings are bigger than the bottom part of the wings. So I've got my first side at about 3¼ inches. It's surprising, but even just having one pearl difference or one bead difference on one of your matching butterfly wings, really you can see it. It makes a visual noticeable difference. So the goal is that your sides are equal. And now I'll string up the other side. I'm not using sterling silver wire, but you could. I'm just using regular craft wire, but I've been making a lot of butterflies, so I didn't want to spend a fortune making butterflies. And now they are just about even. Again, I'm just going to curl down the very ends so that I don't lose any pearls while I'm making the next part of the wings. So fold the wing back down toward the rest of what you've already made and just twist like 3 times, and then do the same on the other side, bringing it back under, or to the inside, not to the outside, and twist that about 3 times. You don't want to over twist because that also can put a lot of tension on the wire. So just a few twists is all it takes, just enough to hold it together. Then again, I'm twisting the 2 wires back together just a couple times. Now I'm going to bring them around the body twice in opposite directions. Now I need to cut off the little curls I made on the end. Now with the bead that you've chosen for the body of the butterfly, go ahead and string those on one of these 2 wires as it comes back up the center of the butterfly. The number of beads that you'll need for the body depends on how big the beads are that you've chosen. I'm using a 4mm amethyst bead for this butterfly, and at that size I've used 3, but if I was using a bigger bead I might only need 2 or 1, or if I was using a smaller bead maybe I'd need more. And then twist together your wires above the top of the butterfly for again about 1/4 of an inch, and now they're going to become the antenna. So using the seed pearls, string on 1.5 inches of seed pearls on the first antenna. If you're not using pearls to make your butterfly, you can use 2mm beads for the antenna. Then you can cut off the extra wire, but leave about 1/4 of an inch above your last pearl, and you're going to just fold this over and tuck it in at the top pearl. Leave the antenna straight for now because we want to make sure that we make the other antenna the same size. And again, rather than pulling out the ruler for the other side to make sure that they match, we're just going to hold them next to each other and compare. Once they're the same length, go ahead and cut the excess wire, leaving about 1/4 of an inch. Fold over the tip of the wire and fold it flat on itself. Using your fingers, curl the antenna down. Then do any last-minute shaping of the wings. And there's the finished butterfly. Very easy. But what do you do with it? So, what you can do with it is, because it has extra wire around the back, you can pass bead cord underneath and you can incorporate it into a piece of jewelry using stringing. Or you can use another technique like wire wrapping or something and attach to the top of the wings on each side and make it into a pendant that way. I've sewn some crinoline to the back of a couple and then hot glued them onto barrettes to make barrettes. You can use some wire and wrap it onto a floral wire to make a pick to stick into a flower arrangement or plant. And that's just what I've come up with so far. I'm sure there are lots of other things that you can do with them. It's a cute little embellishment. It takes very little time and it's super easy to do. So there you go. Beaded butterfly.